Throughout its lifetime, CrossFit has been responsible for viral videos, weird workouts, a famously cult-like following, and a whole lot more. At times, some things even got a little out of hand. These are some of the things that made the early days of CrossFit so interesting. At the 2016 California Regional, which was a qualifying stage for the CrossFit Games at the time, CrossFit's media director Sevan Matosian followed athletes around during the competition for a behind-the-scenes look into the athletes. These behind-the-scenes videos always provided some awesome content, and this one in particular got over 700,000 views on YouTube, making it a huge success in the CrossFit world. The main story seemed like it was going to be Josh Bridges making his comeback after missing the CrossFit Games the year prior in 2015. But an unexpected gem of a moment came out of this behind the scenes. About 21 minutes into the video, Sevan is interviewing an athlete named Kenny Leverich. Now what happens next is one of the funniest moments of all time.
Yeah, it was by far one of the most. I think he's twerking, dude.
It's just awesome. It wakes up your whole body, and it just loosens up your muscles. I use it as a cool down, but I've been kind of exploring the whole shaking thing. It's pre-human, right? That term, shake it off, right? That means something. Animals, if they're hurt, they go to their den and they just shake. They shake their injuries away. They shake their sicknesses away. If there's people training with me, I always try and get everyone to do it, because we should do it, actually. Because, man, I was at a yoga class last week and we were doing shaking. It's the first time I ever had anyone else do it to me, and we shook for like 4 minutes.
Someone like me who has never done any shaking, is 4 minutes excessive for my first shake?
No, we got to go 10 minutes.
I'll do a 10-minute shake and I'll report back to you.
I want to help you through it though. There's some guidance, like how to get out of it is important.
This whole thing is so outlandish, I don't even know what to say. I mean, you can tell something is a little different about this guy by his cutoff jorts, which by the way, he also wore during the workouts that weekend. Second of all, when he says animals go into their den and shake off injuries, it's just such a bad take. Like, yeah, dude, animals go into their den, put on their jorts and earbuds and just shake it off. But honestly, seeing this is not that surprising. I feel like CrossFitters have always been in the alternative camp with the yoga, essential oil, meditation type people, and it seems like Ronnie Teasdale is just all of those wrapped up into one. His whole aura in this behind the scenes is so outlandish, it almost seems like he's playing a prank on everyone and he's the only one in on it. This little snippet highlights one of the things I love the most about the early days of CrossFit, which was their ability to highlight the athletes and personalities. I mean, Ronnie Teasdale ended up almost taking dead last this year at regionals, and yet he's responsible for one of the most memorable moments in CrossFit history. If you haven't watched this behind the scenes, I would highly recommend going back and giving it a watch, and at this point, it's just a great piece of CrossFit history. This one is definitely not the early days as it was posted in 2020, but there was absolutely no way I was going to skip over it. This is a video of the two-time champ Katra Davidsdottir working out while her coach Ben Bergeron, puts dirt on her. Now, I remember when this happened, it was pretty funny and actually got quite a reaction out of the community, but it honestly wasn't that surprising. Ben Bergeron is a pretty prominent figure in the CrossFit world who's best known for his success coaching a ton of high-level CrossFit Games athletes, and he's also known for his interesting training tactics. The explanation I've heard for what's happening in this particular video is that he was trying to get Katrin used to being uncomfortable or having minor inconveniences while working out, so that when she gets into competition, she will be prepared with how to deal with the unexpected. In fact, I've heard stories of Bergeron writing a workout for his athletes, telling them it was 4 rounds, and then when they finish the 4th and they're out of breath and dead tired, he tells them it's actually 5. I've also heard he's made his athletes do a swim workout in a freezing cold lake during the winter. All of these training tactics he's employed have been subject to scrutiny from time to time, and although I really hate to admit it, maybe this type of stuff actually worked. For example, a few months after this video was posted, at the 2020 CrossFit Games, there was a workout called Ranch Loop. In this event, the athletes were told they were doing a 3-mile trail run, but when they finished the loop, Dave Castro was waiting at the end to tell them it wasn't actually the whole workout and they had to go back and run the course in reverse. And guess what happened? Covered in dirt from the trail, doing twice the amount of work she expected to do, Katrin came back for the win on that second lap. Maybe Bergeron's seemingly odd training tactics actually work at getting these athletes ready for anything. Although, I still can't help but feel like, do you really need to practice getting a rash, or chafing, or getting sand in your eyes? And as much as I want to like this, or think it's a good idea and it made Katrin mentally tougher, the video of him putting dirt on her is undeniably funny. Next, we have an infamous moment that came from an early CrossFit.com video of athletes Jason Khalipa and Dave Lipson doing the workout CrossFit Total with the founder of the CrossFit Games, Dave Castro. The video had pretty typical early CrossFit vibes, but towards the end is when one of the most iconic moments of early CrossFit played out. Dave Castro goes to attempt a max deadlift at 465 pounds that lasts 25 seconds long. That had to be the longest deadlift attempt ever. How does this even happen? I mean, at the 20-second mark, did Dave really think he was going to make this lift? Actually, just in case you didn't already think this was absolute blasphemy, here is a heat from the CrossFit Games 2019 sprint event, which was over 200 yards of running, playing side by side Dave's deadlift. I've literally never seen anything like this to this day. It's been 14 years since this video was posted, and I still have so many questions. If I'm being honest, I really didn't want to talk about this one. I'm a die-hard CrossFitter through and through, and this one has been a pretty tough sell for CrossFit throughout the years, but it's just too good not to talk about. In 2009, the CrossFit Games were still a glorified backyard competition compared to what they are today. They were still taking place at Dave Castro's family ranch in Aromas, California. The equipment and aesthetic were nowhere near what they are today, and the athletes were not at the full-time professional level that the CrossFit Games athletes are at now. And all of this is pretty evident in this next video, because in 2009 at the CrossFit Games, there was an event called the Sledge Row where athletes had to row 500 meters and then pound a stake into the ground with a sledgehammer. Now, this video has gotten a lot of strong reactions throughout the years, and I think there are a few reasons for that. The first is just the thought of using something like this as a form of exercise was, and even still is, a pretty odd concept for some people. The second reason is just the overall aesthetic, which I think is doing a huge disservice to this event because it's outside, it looks super chaotic, and of course, the clothes they are wearing all look super goofy. And the third reason, which I think is the main reason this ended up getting such a large reaction, is the horrible technique some of these guys used with this sledgehammer. Now, I am definitely not an expert on how to use sledgehammers, but this right here does not look like the most efficient technique. Throughout the years, CrossFit has given us some funny moments, developed its own culture, and even reshaped the way people think about exercise. There have also been some extremely unique personalities and workouts, and these were just 4 examples. There are endless more out there, which means at some point, I'm gonna have to do a part 3 to this series. So if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and thank you for watching.